Having a thriving business is the American dream, but it takes dedication and hard work to start a successful enterprise. If you have prepared a solid plan for a startup clothing business, you are on your way to making the dream a reality. By establishing a clothing line and selling your own clothing in online stores like Etsy or Shopify, you profit financially from your creativity. You'll also enjoy the thrill of seeing your brand becoming increasingly well-known and popular on e-commerce. But the downside to starting up a new clothing line is that financial success is not guaranteed. And if you start your small business as a sole proprietor, creditors can sue you for unpaid business debts. You could lose your house, car, or savings if the company is not able to meet its debts, loans, or obligations. Forming a limited liability company, LLC, to market a clothing brand protects you from this outcome. By starting your clothing business as an LLC, you eliminate the threat of losing personal assets and funds if the business isn't profitable. In addition, forming an LLC offers flexible tax options. Should you open your clothing brand as an LLC? If you are ready to start producing and marketing your own clothing brand, you are probably eager to write up your business plan. Perhaps you've already hired a fashion designer and mapped out a strategy for your company. It pays to slow down and take time to consider which business structure would be preferable for your clothing line. Here's what you should think about forming an LLC. 1. Consider personal liability. Prospects might look bright for your clothing brand, but nobody can see into the future. That's why it is important to select a business structure that limits your personal liability. Personal liability means that a business owner is personally responsible for their company's debts. If you open a sole proprietorship, you have personal liability for all company debts. When you don't pay the business debts, creditors have the legal right to go after your personal bank accounts. Your home or vehicle may be sold to pay outstanding business obligations. Even if you always pay your company's operating bills, your clothing brand might be involved in a lawsuit. For example, if one of your popular items is a jacket with a large red check mark on the pocket, a company might sue you, claiming you copied the pattern from them. If they win the litigation, you'll have to pay that judgment out of pocket. Forming a limited liability company for your brand safeguards your personal assets from liability for company debts. Creditors of your clothing LLC cannot sue you personally or access your personal assets for company obligations. Because of its liability protection, a limited liability company is an appealing business entity for entrepreneurs to consider. 2. Understand other LLC benefits. In addition to liability protection, an LLC offers business owners considerable flexibility. One person can own a limited liability company by themselves, termed a single-member LLC. But the owner can also bring in new business partners to the LLC. All owners of an LLC are termed members. Most states allow any individual or entity to become members of an LLC. That means that corporations, other LLCs, foreigners, and foreign entities can be members. In addition, an LLC structure will give a clothing business flexibility when it comes to taxation. As a sole member, you report all profits as income on your personal tax return, if that works best for you. However, it is also possible for LLC members to opt to file taxes with the IRS as an S-corp. 3. Weigh the downsides of LLCs. There are some downsides to using an LLC to open your new clothing brand. One involves fundraising. Since LLCs cannot issue stocks, raising capital to expand the business is more difficult than for a corporation. In addition, selling an LLC membership presents legal challenges. Some states make it difficult or impossible for members to sell or transfer LLC shares. But each state enacts its own laws about LLCs. You'll need to do some research about how your state regulates LLCs before proceeding. It can be a good idea to consult a local attorney to give you an overview. Now, let me explain all the steps required to register your LLC for your clothing brand. Step 1. Choose a name for your LLC. Have you picked a name for your clothing brand? A catchy name may be important for getting noticed online. If you are already famous, you can simply use your own name with limited liability company after it. But for all others, it's preferable to choose a fictitious business name for your clothing line. This is also called a doing business as name, or DBA. It is important to follow your own state's rules when choosing a DBA. Most states include these mandates. 1. The DBA must include the words Limited Liability Company or LLC in the name. 2. You'll need to choose a DBA that hasn't been used by another company. State laws often prohibit using a fictitious name that an existing business is already using. Anyone forming an LLC under a DBA is generally given the exclusive right to use that business name in a particular state. When you've picked a name for your LLC, run it through your state's database of business names to make sure it has not been taken. You might also want to see if your chosen DBA is available on social media sites as well, since e-commerce is such an important market for clothing brands. Step 2. Choose a state to register your LLC. You should incorporate your LLC in states where you want to start your clothing business. In specific, business-friendly states like Delaware or Nevada can be a good place to start. You can register your LLC in these states easily even if you live in another country. Step 3. Hiring a registered agent. A registered agent is a person or business entity that is responsible for receiving legal documents on behalf of your LLC. In general, you must have a registered agent for your LLC. Simply put, a registered agent is a person, individual or company, who receives legal papers and has responsibility for filing for your clothing brand. Your registered agent must have a physical address in the state where you incorporate your LLC. Step 4. File your LLC's articles of organization. Forming an LLC is easier in some states than others, but most require that new business owners file a legal document called the Articles of Organization. The Articles of Organization set out basic information about the company, like your DBA, the LLC's business address, the business purpose, here, that it will market a clothing brand, and the name and contact information for a registered agent. The agent is an individual who lives in the state and agrees to accept legal documents on behalf of the company. The Articles of Organization must be filed with the state. In some states, you can do this online. Expect to pay a small filing fee for this. Step 5. Create an LLC operating agreement. Your state may also require you to draft an operating agreement. This document sets out internal operating regulations. The purpose of the operating agreement is to advise all members about how the LLC will operate. Even if your state doesn't require an operating agreement to form your clothing company business, it's a good idea unless it's a single-member LLC. If you are not the only owner of the clothing business, it's important to have a set of business rules for members to follow. Step 7. Obtain an EIN. An EIN, or Employer Identification Number, is a federal tax ID issued by the IRS. They use your EIN to readily identify your firm and tax filings. All LLC firms in the USA pay a business privilege tax, and the state requires you to have an EIN to file. You may also be required to provide your EIN when opening a bank account or applying for municipal permits or licenses. Obtaining an EIN is a slightly longer process compared to their previous steps. I'm sure you know anything to do with the IRS is confusing. First, you must have complete knowledge of your LLC, such as your company information, managing member information, business address, business information, company details, and even critical information regarding vehicular assets and federal excise taxes. This is another reason why getting a professional registered agent is way more convenient, as they can do this for you as part of their service. Now, let's talk about the second option to form an LLC, and that is hiring a professional formation service. Professional formation services do all the steps you should be doing on your own, from filing necessary forms to acting as your registered agent. You usually have to allocate a specific budget for this option. As I already mentioned earlier, InkFile is one of the best companies out there to help you form your LLC. You can click on the link in the description to get access to this deal. InkFile is one of a kind as it offers a free package with services such as preparing and filing your articles of organization. Well, you still have to pay $237 for the state fees, which you would have to do anyway if you chose the DIY option. But looking at the bigger picture, all other companies will still charge their service fee on top of state filing fees. InkFile does not collect this fee. This plan already includes a free registered agent for your first year of subscription, and $119 annually moving forward if you decide to continue the service after the first year. InkFile's next packages are the Gold and Platinum packages, which both have package fees, already on top of the $237 state fee. Each package has its own set of services which are all worthy of the subscription you are paying for. The Gold package offers you the benefits of filing reports and taxes for your LLC. Every year, USA LLCs are required to file a state annual report. This report is essentially an information update of your file so that the state knows who is now in charge and how to contact your company. USA LLCs are also required to file state tax returns. To make matters even more complicated, your annual report and business privilege tax share a document and are due at the same time each year. With the InkFile's Gold package, you won't have to scribble notes of these reports because InkFile will handle the whole process for you. Your Platinum package also has these services in the bag with the unique addition of expedited filing, getting a domain name, and a business email which essentially increases your LLC's credibility. InkFile also has an exclusive partnership with Bank of America so you can easily open an eligible checking account for your business. Yes, it is a must for your LLC to have a business account. Remember, an LLC has limited liability, for it is a separate entity from its members. You may forfeit your liability protections if you combine your personal and business money, and this is where the term, piercing the corporate veil, comes into play. Piercing the corporate veil is an LLC jargon that refers to the court's action to hold you as the owner or member of an LLC, personally liable for the LLC's debts or actions. Now, if you have been sued by some lawyer who sees a crack in your LLC, they might resort to piercing the corporate veil in which you are in any position defeated. This is why opening a separate bank account for your LLC is so important. Do you like the level of detail I'm providing you in my review so far? If yes, then make sure to let me know by liking my video and hitting that subscribe button for more high-quality business content.